The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Well, welcome to Chic, Chattin. I'm Karen Testerman, your host for the day, and today I'm so pleased that I have the opportunity to have Kate Baker, who is the Executive Director for the Children's Scholarship Fund here in New Hampshire. Welcome to the Chic, Chattin, Kate.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming in. This is a delight. And one of the things that I want to compliment you on is that you are always out there cheering our children on, encouraging the parents to be involved, and you really have a heart for making sure that those kids are able to be educated.
Yeah, so Karen,
truly educated.
I grew up low income, a free and reduced lunch kid on the west side of Manchester.
Oh, okay.
And so doing this work, yes, I want to create options for families, and I've been doing that in New Hampshire for 15 years. But also for me, it is really personal.
It is personal.
Really
That's how you came about getting involved. So back up a little bit and tell us way back when, what was it, 2013 when we started all of this?
Yeah.
And what was it? Was it the legislation that was being introduced?
Yeah.
What was it that got your...
So it's a fun story. So I do have 3 daughters, and one of them is a brilliant artist. And I did struggle for years to find the right educational fit for her. She went to a charter school, she went to public school, she went to private school, she also homeschooled this child, okay? Because there really wasn't a school for a brilliant artist at the time, okay? So I knew at that point that families needed more options because I had experienced that myself. And so I worked on the founding of a charter school, and I sat as the chairman of the board of a charter school for 3 years. And through that time, we had 3 lotteries. So charter schools, the entry is by lottery. So you might have, we had, say, 20 seats available, and 100 children would want those seats. Right. And so we would do this bingo ball thing, okay, where the ball would come down and a kid would get the seat. And then every year there was people who didn't get the seats, Karen, and they would cry. And I thought to myself, what is going on here? Who is helping these kids who clearly need an education that's the right fit for them, but they can't get in here? And I knew there was seats in private schools all over the state. I knew there was space available at Mount St. Mary's in the north end of Manchester. I knew there was seats available at the Montessori school, but that families just couldn't access them because of money. Okay? And money is a problem that you can solve, right?
Right, yeah.
So then at the same time, Senator Forsyth was in the legislature, and he knew me, and he knew I was doing this work, that I was trying to create more education options for families. And he showed me this bill, this education tax credit program, which at the time only existed in 14 other states. I think now it's 18. And he said, what do you think about this, Kate? What do you think about this tax credit program? So the way it works, just so our viewers know, is people can donate to Children's Scholarship Fund and take a tax credit off their business enterprise tax, business profits tax, or their interest and dividends tax they would otherwise pay. So it's a nice incentive to give to the scholarships. He said, what do you think about this? And I said to him, if you can get that passed, I'll quit my job and start the scholarship fund. And at the time, I was running my friend's software company with air conditioning and cushy seats and, fancy kitchen. And
giving up Cadillacs for
that's right.
the Volkswagen,
That's right. So sure enough, it did pass. We had to work hard and override. Governor Lynch vetoed it at the time, and then we overrode his veto. But I kept my word, Karen. I kept my word. When it passed, I had written a plan and gotten people who were interested in helping with the startup, and then I quit my job and started the scholarship fund.
So did you, now this scholarship fund is unique in the United States because it does not exclude the homeschoolers.
That's right.
It includes them.
That's right. In our program, you can choose really any education option in the entire state.
Including charter schools, public schools.
Well, charter schools are already tuition free. So you don't need our scholarship to go to a charter school.
True.
Though, of course, we all support charter schools because more options for families is always better.
Right.
But with our scholarship, you can choose an out-of-district public school, anything you're going to pay tuition for.
Okay.
You could choose a private school. You could choose homeschooling. And in the homeschooling, that's where we're original in New Hampshire in our education tax credit program, because you can customize your child's education. So, for example, we have a student who's a New Hampshire homeschooler who has one of our scholarships, but he goes to Stanford. He goes to the Stanford Online High School.
Wow.
Okay?
Awesome.
There's some other kids in the Seacoast. There's a place called Big Fish Learning Center where they offer courses and advising, and some homeschoolers attend Big Fish and use our scholarship to pay, in essence, tuition at Big Fish.
Okay.
We also see lots of textbook purchases and curriculum purchases and, like you'd imagine, science kits and, Ben Franklin bibliographies, right? I mean, a lot of stuff like that. So it is very cool. Our program like that is original.
Yes.
In that the New Hampshire legislators wanted to make it so families could customize their children's education. We have some children who participate in our program. They were smart. They legislated a higher scholarship for special needs children. And so we've attracted some children who otherwise were not getting their needs met. And those families are homeschooling their special needs children with our scholarship and purchasing things like therapies or tutoring for dyslexia or all kinds of customizations so that now, the kids are thriving and happy. And
And parents are involved.
In the homeschool case, the parent is the one who's, giving up their job to spend all their time educating their child.
It's the parents who are making the choice, who are observing their child's needs, because they are the best advocate for their child.
Yes, and our scholarships are also portable. So, for example, Karen, if you said, I'm going to send my daughter to this school because I think it's the right fit, and then you go to that school, and then imagine you find, oh, wait, I actually like this other school better. You can say to us, I want now my scholarship to be paid to this other school instead.
Okay,
so it really gives low-income families the same power that a wealthy family has, right? If you're a wealthy family and your child is suddenly bullied in a school, right? You take them out of the school, you move them to another school where they need to go, you pay the tuition, they're safe, you're happy, right? It gives low-income families now that same power, that same ability to look at the education options in their area and choose whether it's a charter school or a private school. Now it makes that possible, or the public school or whatever they want. And New Hampshire is like edutopia here.
Right.
There's so many beautiful choices. I talked to a mom the other day who was in Manchester. And just in Manchester, I was able to make a list with her 5 or 6 different places to go to look for what she wants for her son.
So walk us through the process.
Yeah.
So I'm a mom.
Yes.
And I just learned about this scholarship program. And what kind of an income do I have? There must be a certain level.
They legislated that. Yes. Like for a family to get our scholarship, you have to be 300% of the poverty line or below.
Okay.
So for a family of 4, that's in the 70s. Okay. So it's low and moderate income families. So people should definitely go to our website. It's going to scroll across the bottom. And it's also CSF, like we're called Children's Scholarship Fund, and then newhampshire.org. And so even if you just go to Google and type Children's Scholarship Fund New Hampshire, it's going to come right up.
Right.
Okay.
Good.
So we just opened our pre-application, which is on the website right now. And the income chart is there, Karen. And so if somebody's questioning, do I qualify or not, they can go right to our website and see that. And they do our pre-application. The scholarships are targeted to children who otherwise are struggling, in public school, right? So if you're leaving public school, going to private school, you should definitely go to our website and apply, because that's really one of the triggers for getting the scholarship.
Right. So that we're not just going because we're in that zip code. We're going because this is the better fit for my child.
That's right. That's right. And it makes it possible really to shop, to look at all of the
So
choices
they do a
in your
pre-application.
area. Yes.
And then what happens?
And now the pre-application's open, so people should get in there and start doing that now. Then we invite them to do the full application, and that's when we make sure they meet the income requirements. And that's the only requirement of the program is the income.
Right.
It's not a merit-based, people are always like, does my child have to be an A student? this, none of that. It is only financial need based, which is great for me, Karen, because it's only math. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Math is great. Okay. If it was subjective, like my heart would be, I'm way too sensitive.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm way too sensitive. I want to help everyone.
Right.
If someone was like, this is our problem. I mean, everyone has a unique circumstance. For example, I'll share to you kind of the top reasons that families come to us. Okay.
Yeah.
So bullying is a problem right now, and we're hearing from a lot of families who are concerned about their kids' safety and/or they've had an incident where their child has been injured or either emotionally or physically.
Right.
And so families are coming to us looking for a safer school environment. Above grade level and below grade level is also very common. We'll hear from a family who says, you know, my little boy is reading 2 years below grade level, but I know he's smart and he just needs a smaller class size and maybe more individualized instruction, right?
Right.
And so people come to us for that. We get the occasional way above grade level. Like I told you, the young man who's at Stanford Online,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
He was well above grade level. In public school, they had him doing Khan Academy by himself in the hallway. And his parents were like, okay, well, that's meeting his academic needs, but can he have something a little more, you know, at his level?
Yeah.
And so he's doing that Stanford Online.
That was often
program.
my complaint about the special needs, because we address the lower end, but we seem to forget that there are these kids that need to be challenged.
Well, and or I would love to see us all move to a system where we're individualizing for every student. I mean, that's my dream world, right?
Right.
Where you take
Every
a child
child.
and they move on when they're ready.
Right,
You know?
and it shouldn't have to do with whether or not they meet this criteria or that criteria,
Right.
and we're going to give them more money because now the schools are competing for more money because and just identifying kids anyway. I mean, why not?
It's 2020 now, Karen.
Right, I know.
Can't we do anything?
Every child needs to know that they have a program that is for each child, because no child is exactly the same as another. When you've got 3 children, you know that,
no, they're
right?
totally different.
They're totally different.
I have one artist, one capitalist, one athlete. Yeah, they're totally different.
They're all different.
They're all totally
they all
different.
have different personalities.
They're totally different. Yes.
And study styles and needs and so forth. Okay.
Yeah.
So now
That's why I love doing this.
I'll bet.
I mean, I love talking to parents on the phone too. And, you know, I've gotten to the point now where I kind of have like a Google Map system in my head, right? Because I've been doing it for so long. You could say, okay, well, I live in Ringe and I have a child with autism. Where do I go? You know, and I could do the geography a little bit. So I love doing that.
Yeah.
I love
So now
helping
we've
families
gone
like
through
that.
the pre-app. We've gotten past the and we're into the full. How do you actually decide which students are going to get the scholarships, and how do you and then I want to know how you find the money. So go ahead.
Okay, fun. So we just help everyone, first come, first serve, and add as many children as we can every year.
Okay.
And so it's really just math still again.
So
there isn't
wonderful.
any gray space in that regard. You know, like last year we did end up with a wait list of about 30 children. And then we went out and told people, like, we need to raise more money, and we raised more money, and then we were able to add the kids.
Oh, good.
And so really we can add as many students as we can raise the money for that meet the income requirements.
Fantastic.
Okay, so again, leaving public, going to private. Kindergartners and first graders is also an entry point for the program. And then as many as those students, I mean, I'll hustle and raise as much money as possible to be able to help them. And we've been increasing by about 50% per year. There are sometimes families that we can't help, and we try and put them on the wait list, right? And try to help them, or we help them in the next year.
Okay.
And so we've been able to really continue raising money and adding more students. You know, most of my job is the fundraising piece of it. Yeah. And so, you know, it's definitely...
And you waste no time at all when you meet somebody.
I mean, it's really straightforward, Karen, the way the program works, right? I mean, the tax credit is 85% of a donation that someone makes to us.
Okay.
And so if a business is going to pay, say, $10,000 in tax, and they donate that money to us instead, their tax credit is $8,500 of the donation. Wow. And people love to know that they're helping children in their communities.
Right.
And they love to give back to their communities. I mean, the people that are donating to the program the children write them thank you notes, they're receiving it's so
such a great
connected to it's so local that, yes, people do, I don't want to say they grab it quick, but it's in some cases people tell me this is a no-brainer.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
this is a no-brainer.
Right.
I'm absolutely going to donate and use the tax credit and help kids in my own community to be able to go to all of these wonderful education options. I mean, think about it. Those are our future leaders and employees. And so for a business person running a company in an area, in a neighborhood, in a city, they want those future employees to be well prepared. And the way you do that is by having the child have an education that's the right fit for them, so they're lifted up.
Right.
So that then they go to college if they want to go to college, or they go to technical school if they want to go to technical school, or they, for example, our graduation rate is 100%, right?
Excellent.
Okay,
Excellent.
so I mean, every child who is in our program is graduating from high school and then choosing to do something that's the right fit
so
for
they
them.
can even go to an intern program
Sure.
somewhere.
Sure.
I mean, and our businesses, our
Yes.
manufacturers
Yes.
are screaming
Yes.
for people who want
Yes.
to show up to work
That's
on a
right.
regular basis.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they want to learn.
Right.
And if they're happy learning
That's right.
in the lower grades,
That's
they're
right.
going to be excited about learning when they get
That's right.
older, right?
That's right. Well, and it really changes your whole trajectory. Think
Right.
about it, of your life. If
And
you're
if-
in struggling,
Right.
imagine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
if you can read, write, and compute, you
Yes.
can communicate. That's the only other
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
And so then,
Or worse, Karen, sad. Imagine if you're a bullied kid.
I know.
Like you really need to do something else,
Right,
To
right.
be our future leader, we need to help you now. Okay.
Right.
And this really is the only program that exists for a child or a family in that type of circumstance, right? If you're low income,
right.
and your school is not a good fit for your child, I mean, this is it.
This is
right?
it.
This
They
is
only
it.
have this
Yes.
time.
Yes, that's
They
right.
don't get
That's
another.
right.
And this is something that I did as a mom.
Yeah.
I have to find a fit for this child now.
Right.
Because I can't wait for the school to change or
Right.
for the administration to change or
Yeah.
for somebody else to
Right.
come up with a better
Yeah.
curriculum.
Right.
They have to know now.
Right. Yeah, they're only fourth grade once.
That's
you
it.
know?
That's it.
They're only
And,
fifth grade
and
once.
if you're being destroyed in who you are,
Yes. Right.
which is what happens with the bullying,
Yeah.
and you can't find that inner support,
right.
then
Yeah.
that's when
and
you need to have
you might
it.
already be in poverty too.
Right,
Right. And so this also breaks the cycle of poverty.
Right.
Right. It makes it so a low income child now is probably going to go to college if they're in our
Yes,
program,
right.
if that's what they want to do.
That's so
right,
exciting.
And achieve. And so all the data, I mean, they do better academically in the data, and they also are more likely to be successful when they're an adult. And again, it's everything to do with those two things, right, that you were talking about. Having the education that's the right fit for you, but in addition, having now your parent be the person who says, this is what we're going to do, also brings kind of that connection around, right?
Yeah.
So when you move your child, so Karen, also all of our families do pay a little bit of tuition.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So about 25% they're paying. Lower income families, of course, we give a larger scholarship to lower income families, so
Right,
they're paying,
right.
So that
So every
piece of
scholarship
it,
is not the same amount.
yes,
It is
yes,
a graduated.
Yes,
Okay.
because we want the families to have that piece, because it changes everything. So there's a mom that we have in Keene who's been with us for many years. Initially, she wasn't working initially when she found us. And her and I had a conversation, and I was like, okay, well, this is going to be hard because you're going to have to pay a piece of this. And she's like, that's okay. I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to then pay this portion. And she's been participating in the program, I think, she might have been the first year, this child, and has been with us the whole time. Now she's in high school. The mom pays $200 a month for the child to go to school, and she'll tell you that she sends her child to private school so that her daughter will go to college and not have the life that she had. So for her, the scholarship just makes it possible for her. It's her doing it, right?
Right.
And the way she looks at it changes their entire view, right? She's sacrificing so that her child can have a better life.
Right.
And that's what it does. That's
But
what the
it's
program
also,
does.
if she's able to say that,
Yeah.
her child hears,
Yes.
Mom is sacrificing for me.
And this family is really sacrificing. I mean, they're a low-income family. They go to the food bank to get food, and they still pay this piece of the tuition. So, I mean, it's a huge sacrifice for people.
Right.
And
But it's
that changes the game.
It does.
They have a sense of pride.
Absolutely.
That I see a sense of pride in our scholarship families. I mean, they are putting their children's education first above almost everything.
Well, stop and think about it too, though. They have the pride that they are contributing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That is, I'm not just getting a handout.
It's just
I am
help.
actually doing something to make this happen.
That's right.
And that is so valuable, that work ethic and knowing that you have made this happen and that, hey, guess what? We're working together with you so that you can now go out and conquer the world.
And that's really the way we look at it. Yeah. I mean, we honor our families because they're the ones making the sacrifice to make it possible for their children to have a better life, to have more opportunities. Yeah. And so every time I have the opportunity to thank the families for being part of the program and thank them for doing what they're doing for their children. I mean, it's almost like my honor to work with them, frankly.
Yeah, I hear that.
And sometimes people are like, "Oh, Kate, you're so great," and I'm like, "It's the families that are doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just helping them a little bit, you know."
You do have a time when you get people together, so your donors come together, right?
Oh yeah.
And they can now see the product of what they've contributed to.
Yes. And I've been able to set up some mentorships with some of the donors and some of the students. I'm lucky to have the opportunity to get to know the families. And so someone might call me and say, well, I have a son who's interested in technology. Oh, and I'm like, oh, I know someone for that. And then I'll able to connect them and make some of those,
now,
in
that
addition
must
to
give
just
the donor a
scholarship.
big pride as well. I mean, there's something that they can connect, but still give a little even more.
Yes.
Mentorships are wonderful.
Yeah, mentorships are wonderful. So we've been able to really create a community around the scholarship fund such that, yes, the scholarships are important and we love people to donate and we love to give scholarships, but we're trying to build a community where, the donors are connecting with the children and the children are writing to them. That's another piece that I found very interesting and meaningful. When a child knows that it's real people in their community who are supporting them in their education, I mean, that gives them more pride.
Exactly.
They think to myself, oh my goodness, this person that runs this company that I know
believes in me,
that I'm important enough that they're investing in my education. I mean, it's totally...
And they work harder because they don't want to disappoint.
They really do. And so the children write thank you notes. And to me, that's one of the most important pieces of my job is because then the children know that people in their community are investing in them so that they have this education, and then they think about it differently too, and they want to give back. I mean, that creates the circle also, where the student says, wow, these people in my community invested in me, now I'm going to give back to my community. And I've heard that so many times from the kids with them telling me what they're going to do to give back.
So how many scholarships have you been able to afford, and how many repeat scholarships?
That's a great question. So last year we had 310, and this year we went up to 523.
Fantastic.
And so our goal for next year is to maybe get to 800. That's
wonderful.
how we've been increasing over the years by about 50%.
Excellent.
And so, again, it really is so fun to participate that once someone donates and takes the tax credit and kind of understands how it works, they continue doing it and they tell their friends.
Right.
Oh, you should know about this program because you could be helping kids right in your neighborhood.
Fantastic.
And so, call Kate and my phone rings and I answer my phone, which people are always surprised. They're like, you're answering your phone.
How do people get in touch with you?
So the education tax credit information is on our website.
Okay.
Again, you can go to csfnewhampshire.org or the website you see on the bottom of the screen, which is that nh.scholarshipfund.org. Or again, just go to Google and type Children's Scholarship Fund. On our support section is the steps to donate. To do the tax credit, you do have to tell put an application into the Department of Revenue and say, we want to apply for the tax credit. They approve the donation. They tell the donor, yes, there's room in the program, you can have a tax credit, and then you make the donation to us.
Fantastic. Yeah.
That's on our website, and so is my phone number, and I love walking people through that. And we're getting to the point, too, in New Hampshire where we've been around long enough that most of the CPAs and accountants know about this program and know how to do it. So if someone's watching and they know they pay business enterprise or business profits tax or interest and dividends tax, and they want to do this program, they want to help children in their community, they could even ask their accountant. And in most cases, their accountant will say, yes, I know about that. Here's how you do it.
Oh, excellent.
And so
Excellent.
that's
Right.
another way to be able to participate.
Okay, so you've built quite a reputation. And one other thing.
I mean, it's been a few years
Right.
here.
But one other thing I want to hit on you for is that you also inspire. So one of the
Karen.
things you did this year was you brought in Miss Virginia,
the
a
movie.
film.
Yeah, the
and
movie for the
that,
families. And
that was fantastic because it was one of those things where as you're watching it, you're saying, this is what it's all about. And it's encouraging to those mothers and fathers who are out there breaking their backs.
Yes, I invited a lot of the families that have teenagers to that on purpose. So Virginia Walden Ford did basically one of these programs in D.C.
Yes.
She got it passed.
But she had to go through Congress.
She had to
which
go
was
through Congress.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, think about it, though. The New Hampshire legislature is just
It's
about
just
as
about
big
as
as
big as
Congress.
That's
so, I mean, good for her, but hello.
This is Miss Virginia, only it's Miss Kate Baker.
But it
New
was
Hampshire.
great because that really, the movie was really written from a parent perspective. I mean, Virginia Walden Ford was a mom who struggled. Her child was in a school situation where he was getting Fs, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he was in fights and the kids were targeting him.
Yes.
And she wanted to send him to a private school. She moved him to a private school for about 5 minutes, and then she couldn't come up with the money to pay the tuition.
Right. It was so sad.
Right?
Yeah.
And
But
that made her realize that
she had
it
to
wasn't
do more.
just her, right? That it was bigger than her.
Right.
Yes, she did it for her son, but she also knew, like me on the charter school board, right? When you start to see it and you realize, oh, wait a minute, this is something that families need.
Yeah.
Then you put it into action. And so I loved bringing that film to New Hampshire.
It was inspiring. And thank you so much, Kate Baker, for joining me on Chic Chatting.
My pleasure.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.